There's one more illustration of diversity that I'd like to make, and it relates to scale. Often when we are quantifying diversity or we are trying to understand it in the natural ecosystems that we are managing, we have to consider scale, often because it will change how we perceive the value of a particular community. So first off, most diversity is, the most common way that we're going to quantify diversity is at some sort of local scale, at our plot or a stand scale. And we would go in here and we would determine how many of each type of species we have in this stand and their abundances. So here we have 3 species, our lollipops, our triangles, and our diamond trees. Diamond trees always, of course, very valuable. So we can look at this, quantify its diversity with a number of different metrics, and then contrast that with the diversity in adjacent stand. And let's just say that that stand is almost exclusively one type of tree. Let's say it's almost all triangle trees and one lollipop. Gotta have a lollipop. We would look at this and we would say, this stand has a lower diversity than our first stand. And that is true. And perhaps if our goal is to have a high abundance of diversity, we might want to manage the stand in such a way as to increase the overstory diversity. Now, let's look more broadly within this landscape. Let's say we measure many different stands and we find that the composition is tends to look pretty similar. You know, we got one diamond tree here. I don't know, maybe this one's a little bit more abundant. This one has more diamond trees. Perhaps more valuable for timber that way, so on and so forth. However, what you're going to see here is with this kind of mix of species, we're going to see more and more that this stand condition becomes more unique as we look at the broader landscape. So there are many different terms that are used to explain this kind of pattern in diversity. Oftentimes alpha diversity would be the diversity within stands, and we might look at that and say these ones are higher diversity than this one. But we can also look at diversity from a broader perspective, from a regional or landscape level perspective, where sometimes called beta diversity, and in that context, these stands that appear to have lower diversity at the local scale become more important because they are they have a greater contribution to heterogeneity at this landscape scale. Now, of course, if we're managing for biodiversity, we're probably not managing solely for the biodiversity of trees. We're managing, trying to maintain the biodiversity that's associated with these trees. So this kind of stand condition may be more, may be important for certain kinds of wildlife. It could be more important for timber productivity, but it could be important for other kinds of resources as well, as provisioning of water, or as I say, certain kinds of wildlife habitat, insects, mammals, birds, and so forth.